I think that self-sacrificing mentality comes in for a lot of people in medicine, that we were raised a certain way and maybe medicine preyed on that with how they teach you in school. I'm curious then how you even know when you're at your limit or when you need a break or when something is too much.
I think I recognize it, but I kind of internalize it, and I think it through. What's the risk or harm to me? What's the risk or harm to somebody else? And usually, I push through. I can handle a lot, and I that's good because that's what's kept me kind of happy and being able to do other things in my life aside from this, even though it's a stressful field.
I mean, I think if you think about that whole kind of putting your head down and just doing your job and being able to handle a
Yeah,
lot,
that's a good way to summarize it.
yeah. Do you feel like that came in a lot over the beginning of COVID and sort of how that played out for you in your workplace and what you do day to day?
Meaning just keep your head down and go for it and do it.
Yeah, sort of like this, okay, this is new, this is hard, this is different. I think I'm just supposed to help people. Like, it's scary too, but I'm just gonna go for it and do what I'm supposed to do because that's like my job.
Honestly, I think our group had a unique experience that wasn't exactly that. Because, like, just a little background, we do neurointensive care, and that's our sort of our happy place. But the pulmonary and medical ICU physicians were very overwhelmed with what was going on. So yeah, I volunteered, and we sort of made a plan of supportive care that could get everyone through the process, hopefully. So we tried that. We made a plan. We tried to be positive. Every day I'd come at 6 a.m., see all the COVID patients, go in their rooms, and see the pretty demoralized nurses and staff who were really, really affected. And we thought that it was such a dark place, and so many patients are sort of like have a scarlet letter, and like once they're intubated and they're here and they're in renal failure on dialysis, it's game over. Like, okay. So what we thought was we would try to extubate patients, like as many patients as we could, which was a big deal because, like nobody was being extubated at that point. So we like evaluated patients who we thought may be fixable, even though they were really sick. I mean, they were on the ventilator, they were like renal failure, they were in heart failure, like, they were really sick, but there were like things we could tweak over like the next week or two, because it's a day by day thing in the ICU to get them there. And it ended up being that we were able to extubate the 5 patients in one day, which it seems like nothing, but it's actually a lot. It was such a morale booster. Everybody knew about all those patients who got extubated. And I was like, oh my God, finally good news goes around. And, because, it's always gossip and like negative stuff that like spreads like wildfire, but it was like actually something positive. So, that was really cool. That was one of the best days of my life. And I think, we took the pandemic as a challenge, and obviously one that we figured we have no business fighting, but we were there and we wanted. And it's like you're in a situation where it's going to be the way it is, regardless. It's all about the way you handle it.
I appreciate you talking about that. I think it's hard for people to talk about a lot of these experiences, but so important for people to hear. So I truly appreciate it.